Open your Bible to the very first page. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Simple, majestic, perfect. But look at verse 2. And the earth was without form and void. In the original Hebrew, the words are Tohu wa-Bohu. It doesn't just mean empty. It implies a state of catastrophic ruin. Something happened between those two sentences. Theologians call it the gap theory, a window of time, perhaps millions of years, where a prehistoric rebellion turned a perfect creation into a wasteland. And in that darkness, a race of giants was born that would nearly end the human story before it even began. Genesis 6. It's the most controversial chapter in the Bible. It speaks of the sons of God looking down at the daughters of men and finding them beautiful. But these weren't men. These were the Watchers. According to the ancient book of Enoch, 200 of these celestial beings descended upon Mount Hermon. They didn't just bring knowledge, they brought a genetic corruption. They crossed the boundary between the spiritual and the physical. This wasn't just a sin of lust. It was an attempt to rewrite the human code, to create a hybrid race that God did not authorize. The result? The Nephilim. The word Nephilim comes from the Hebrew Nephil, meaning the fallen ones. They were the mighty men of old, the men of renown, that legends call titans or demigods. But the reality was far from heroic. Ancient texts describe them as cannibals who consumed the resources of the earth and then turned on humanity itself. The world became a theater of blood, magic, and forbidden technology. By the time of Noah, the human bloodline was almost entirely corrupted. The perfect in Noah's generation wasn't about his morality, it was about his genetics. He was one of the few humans left whose DNA hadn't been touched by the Watchers. The Great Flood was not a tantrum by a vengeful deity. It was a divine surgery, a global reset to preserve the seed of the woman, so that humanity and the promised Messiah could one day exist. The gap was closed. The giants were buried in the mud of the deep. But the Bible warns us of a chilling prophecy. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. Are we seeing the return of the Nephilim spirit? As we begin to play God with our own biology, are we reopening the very gap that was sealed in ancient times? History isn't a straight line, it's a circle, and the things that were hidden in the gap are starting to step back into the light. I'm your host, and we are just scratching the surface. If you want to see the evidence they left behind, subscribe and join us for the next episode, The Secrets of Mount Hermon. Welcome to the Gap.